We got a really big one today. Platanus acerfolia. We call them sycamores in the States. Shit, that was a good shot. See if we can get it down. So our job is pruning today. There's some significant deadwood up there, as well as some heavy limbs over the house. Is it coming? Yeah, baby. So I'm using a couple of different cameras today, including the 360 Insta camera, which gives you a extreme wide angle lens, as well as my iPhone here. Look at that, calla lilies at the base of the tree. Can we do it without damaging those flowers? This is a native tree in our area. I think I said Platanus acerfolia. It's actually Platanus racemosa, which is the native California sycamore or plane tree. They get big. They get well over 100 feet tall. This tree is probably, about 100 years old or so. And we're going to use the Ronin to get up there today. So we're setting a lot of lines. We're setting the initial line for the green rope. And the pump is really important. We've got the pressure gauge that gives us a really accurate height on the shot. So we're putting about 100 pounds of pressure. And this little clip on the edge here is really important because if you unscrew it, you lose air pressure, but that will enable you to pull it back and retract it without losing pressure. This is a tool that takes a lot of practice to become accurate with it. And a miss. So we finally got it set up there and got a good shot. Now this green rope is a special rope. It's not a climbing rope. It is specifically designed for the Ronin. There's a few brands of rope that work on it, but you can't just use a regular climbing rope. It's kind of a stiff rope. It doesn't really take knots very well. But I have this specifically for the Ronin, which you'll see here in a few minutes. And before we get up the tree, we're actually taking a bit of time to set another rope in an alternate area as a lowering line. Figured it was easier to get it all set up before we get up there. Now this is my Ronin. It's a rope climbing tool that I hook onto my belt, and it's actually an amazing tool, but I don't use it that often. I've got a new handsaw. I was gifted a Silky. They're very expensive. And I tell you, I love this saw. But the guy told me it was about $120. I've got kind of a love-hate relationship with this species of tree. They're fun to climb, but there's a powder that's on the underside of the leaves. And this is the early spring, so the leaves are just coming out. It's probably one of the better times of year to work on this tree without getting asphyxiated by these bits of asbestos dust in the air. Not really, but that's what it feels like. Oh, no, this was a difficult perch. It was a really long limb that went straight out over the house, and I had to get some weight off of the end of it. But I had to keep my weight supported by the rope the whole time because I didn't feel comfortable being way out there. So there's the first cuts, and I had to rope everything down off the end of this long fishing pole. That's what I felt like. I felt like a fish on the end of that long pole, but keeping my climbing line taut was imperative. So I worked till lunchtime and then we switched off. I was actually quite tired and I was coughing a lot from the dust. So I needed to take a break and get some water in me. Jorge went all the way up to the top of the tree. Here he's setting his rope. Bad shot. Oh well. Second one. Try it again. He's usually pretty good at making those shots. There we go. He got it. Now, the reason we're here is they had a big limb break and fall and hit the house. So they want us to lighten up any of the limbs over the house, but primarily it's the big dead limbs. We're able to get a lot of them with the pole saw, the smaller dead limbs, but the big ones, we had to rope those down. Everything hung up in this tree. I don't know if you've got experience with this species, but they're such a pain. And that's what it looks like when it's done.